Oh.
That's like crazy light. Sorry.
That lighting is trash.
Man. See what I can do about that. Go ahead, please continue, Lexi.
How's it going, guys?
It's going, Lexi. It's, an interesting day in American history.
Very, very interesting. I was nervous. Like I think everyone else, I was very nervous. I was sweating. Very, very anxious. And then, oddly enough, surprisingly, I think the right verdict was made for all three counts.
For all three counts.
Now let's see if this is an anomaly or if this, sets any sort of precedent for the future. I don't know, but I have a smidge more hope today than I did yesterday. Not a lot, but a smidge.
Yeah, a little bit more. I don't know if we've talked about this ever on the show, but my first husband is in law enforcement. And as he was talking to people, around the water cooler, lots of those people thought that the verdict was going to come back different. And it's interesting just how different bubbles see different things. But I don't understand how one bubble can watch one video and a different bubble watch the same video and come to a different conclusion. And I'm just glad that that jury got it right. And look, we are a fund that started fundraising before George Floyd was murdered May 25th last year, but a large majority of our fund has been raised post his murder. And so many of those dollars have come our way because suddenly America woke up for a brief moment and saw the disparity. And just an interesting moment because I was hopeful that something would happen, but I think we as Black people are hopeful many times and then have our spirits crushed. So it's an interesting day.
Yeah. And what's unfortunate, I mean, not to get too depressing about it, is he wasn't the first. He won't be the last, right? We're all still waiting for justice from Emmett Till, decades ago. And we'll never see that really manifest in the way it should. But let's hope we can see some long-term positive outcomes from here. Also, a special shout out to anyone and everyone in Minnesota right now. I know it's been even more stressful for the Black communities there. I wish you all the best. I love you all. Yeah. I don't want to get too sad. I feel like this got really dark really quickly.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I mean, I think it's just reality, but unfortunate reality. So we're in Tulsa this week, which we're going to talk about.
On a lighter topic, the race massacre.
Right? Yeah. In Tulsa, because
we're gonna
an entire community of people were murdered 100 years
lighten it
ago.
up with that one. Sure.
Sorry, we're in Tulsa this week because we are going to be starting some work here in the local area around our kind of acceleration programming and boot camps, etc. here in the area. So we're just getting to know the lay of the land, getting to meet lots of people from around the city. So today I got to meet with some folks from the City of Tulsa's economic development. We've spent some time with some local foundations and venture capital firms this week. There are others coming into town to do work as well. So our good friends over at Mortar will be here, which is fantastic news. Like, to be able to be here doing work with like people that I really started the accelerator with a few years ago is just a lot of fun. And yeah, so far so good. The only strange thing that's like really happened is that it snowed a bit today. But I hear it's coming your way. So
my way?
Oh yeah, it's supposed to snow tonight in Cincinnati.
I'm getting out. That's it. No,
yeah.
It was so nice today until it rained.
Yeah. So I heard it's coming your way. I think you guys were supposed to go from 65 to snow is what the rumor was from Randy Rico.
Quick thing. I see there's some Tulsa love in the chat. and I know these things are a little delayed, but if you're from Tulsa, if you're in anywhere in Oklahoma, and you know of an entrepreneur doing kind of great or big things, shout them out in the chat. We would love to check out some of your, what the community thinks about who's crushing it in this region.
Yeah, I mean, and since they're here, I think I'm okay with saying like things that we plan on doing here. So we, as an organization, so Lightship Foundation, so we have 2 orgs, Lightship Foundation that runs our accelerator, our boot camp, and this show, Twitch Pitch, as well as obviously we have the fund. So both orgs are coming to Tulsa. We will be investing into 4 to 5 companies every year, and investing $250,000 into Tulsa companies. So Tulsa-based companies or companies that are interested in moving to Tulsa to run their companies here. Let people know that we'll start making those investments come June of this year and really for the next 3 years, which is like a big deal.
Super excited. I would also selfishly love to know if you could throw in the comments where the best places to eat. That is generally one of my top concerns when I go to a city.
I'm going to tell you this right now. Now, vegan might not be a thing that can happen here.
What about pescatarian, though? Can I still get
pescatarian? Can happen. But I will say I had some vegan banh mi sandwich the other day. Actually, I had it 2 days in a row, which is why my face is looking a little full today. But the food scene is really legit.
I love that.
I've had nothing but good food. Nothing but good food.
Ooh. Well, is there a certain cuisine that you feel like Tulsa's really crushing it? Are there certain regions of the world that you think are being represented really well in the food?
Surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, but almost every solid cuisine is represented, even block by block.
Right? They've got German schnitzel, which makes 0 sense. I even asked the folks that gave us a tour, I was like, did the Germans make it this far west, like as a group? And they're like, yeah, I don't know how that restaurant ended up there. So we've had Vietnamese, we've had, and we've been here a few times now.
Latin food.
Oh yeah, they've got a great Latin scene. Obviously, like this area of the country does great with barbecue. They've got cool donut shops. They've got some great brunch spots. Everything in the Arts District area, which I think used to be called North Tulsa, is pretty good. There's a lot great Mediterranean food we had the last time we were here. So
what's laffa? What's laffa? Laffa, what kind of food is that?
Mediterranean. Yeah. So
Stacey, so Black Coffee is telling us that you guys, I guess we all should check out a good Southern Black Baptist church while you're there with a great Sunday hat.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Because we're doing the Oaks later next week, and I do need a hat. What are those things called? A fascinator?
Fascinator?
Or a regular hat. So we'll see.
Regular. Go regular.
Go regular.
Fascinators are for chumps. Go big or go home. Okay. I want the person behind you to not be able to see.
Okay, I can work on that. Yes. There are some great churches right on the perimeter of Greenwood, so that is a good place to consider.
Love that. And right before we'll get started soon, just as a note to Catherine Muldoon, if you're new here, hello, sounds like you are. We start the show at 7 Eastern every day. So the countdown starts before the 7, and then the show starts at 7. So if you want to tune in just at 7 and after that and not see the countdown, you're more than welcome to. And with that, let us get started.
Also, Catherine, there are also 52 episodes available on YouTube. So you're always welcome to kind of surf those and catch up with, there's 52 companies from the last 4 seasons and now obviously the 5th season. So you can check out 52 to 54 great companies.
Absolutely. So you don't have to watch it live either. And you can skip through anything you don't care about. Feel free to check us out on YouTube that way too. And on that note, Marlon, let's get going.
We're a company and a venture capital firm that invests in companies run by women and minorities, particularly when they're away from the coast. I'm very, very focused on the Midwest. You are watching live the first pitch competition on Twitch, where you, the viewer, have an opportunity to vote for companies that you like best.
So every episode, we have 3 judges, plus you, the audience. You also get to judge each pitch. After each presentation, you'll see a cute little box pop up with a Twitter link for you to vote for if you would invest in the company yourselves.
During round 1, we watched as the startups presented their pitch deck in 5 minutes or less. Then the judges began their Q&A. After we selected viewer-submitted questions for the founders to answer, in the end, the audience and judges had the opportunity to vote in the poll below for the company they like best.
Candice, do you mind if we start?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Twitch Pitch, the very first pitch competition brought to you live on Twitch by your very favorite venture capitalists, the team here at Lightship Capital. For those of you who are new, let me run you through the format. Every season, we see 12 incredible companies go head-to-head, 2 companies per episode, as they compete for the title as Best Pitcher and join the illustrious alumni of Twitch Pitch alums and winners. The winner receives a $25,000 cash prize, as well as some other great non-cash prizes. Every season, you're going to see a 5-minute pre-recorded pitch video from that founder. And then afterwards, we bring the founder on live for some Q&A, where we can ask any questions that we want, and you, the audience, can also ask questions as well. So no matter where you're watching us, whether you're watching us on Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, use your comment box below. Throw any comments or questions you have of the team, and I will make sure the team answers those questions for you tonight live. Really great things. Outside of that, too, you get the opportunity to vote for that company tonight as well. So the audience vote is just as important here as our votes in terms of figuring out who the winner is at the end of the season. So after every pitch, you'll see a little number pop up at the bottom of the screen. I'll read it out to you as well. And if you would like to invest in the company, and if you would vote for that company to win the competition, you will text their number to the number below. I'll walk you through it when we get there. It's really not that difficult. We bring this season to you every season by some of our incredible sponsors. We're so grateful to have them. This season, we're sponsored by JP Morgan Chase, a global leader in financial services to governments and companies and corporations in over 100 countries. The Ohio Third Frontier, OTF, works with innovative startups across the state of Ohio, making Ohio the destination for the best tech entrepreneurs here in the States. We're also sponsored by UPS, a global leader in logistics and supply chain solutions to people across the world, and the Hillman Accelerator, our favorite, the very first accelerator focused on underrepresented founders here in the Midwest, which just happens to have been founded and led by our very own Candice Brackeen. In addition to starting Hillman, Candice is also a GP of Lightship Capital, our fund, and she's an expert in all things e-com and CPG. Candice, tonight's your night. We're seeing some really interesting things in D2C today. On the other side of me, we have Brian Brackeen, who's the other general partner at Lightship Capital, and he's our expert in all things AI, machine learning, and computer vision. Then there's me. I'm Lexi. I lead the investment team for the team, and I love all things health tech. Guys, I'm tired if you can't tell with this intro today. It's okay. We're going to get through. We're going to get through.
I mean, our last group of companies are on Thursday, so it's all good. Just like
it's all good. So we're going to bring the companies on in just a minute. But as a reminder, once again, we love to see audience involvement. Any questions you have for the teams as they arise, please throw them in the comment box below. And with that, we are going to get started with our very first company. We're going to meet Athena from Behave.
Hi, I'm Athena Kazikis, and I'm the CEO and founder of Behave. I'm on a mission to get you a well-behaved bust. We're going to talk about bras, the most hated apparel item out there today. Women don't like bras, and I think a lot of the reason is because they're wearing the wrong size. Almost everybody I've ever sized does not know their cup size. They're actually usually wearing a cup that's way too small. And listen, while women can't live with bras, those of us with the largest breasts can't live without them. We need the support that they provide to be comfortable with our bodies. I call us curvy in-betweeners, and we are 50 million women who are wildly underserved in the lingerie market, but make up a large portion of it. We are fed up with back, neck, and shoulder pain. We struggle to find options in our size, can't go to stores and find our size, and quite frankly, we're tired of compromising. Now, double D is the average breast size in the United States today, and it's only getting bigger. This is the fastest growing segment of the market who spends the most amount of money and is the most valuable. Alibaba did a study in 2013 that found that women with double D plus breasts actually spent 33% more dollars than A's, B's, C's, or D's. And the business model has really changed from big retailers onto direct to consumer companies and e-commerce. That's where Behave lives. And we come on the footsteps of Third Love, Adore Me, True and Company, Lively, great startups that focused on a segment of the market and really played to win and did win and succeeded. That's where we are. And we have a lot of white space to fill with this business model because a lot of brands are out there focusing on the high end of the market or the traditional end and really missing this huge growing white space in the middle for women with large breasts. Behave makes amazing wire-free bras, and we have patent-pending technology that no other brand in the market has. It's called Stays. I developed Stays because, quite frankly, I have struggled for so many years trying to get comfortable with my body and my breasts. Large breasts need more support, and so I developed Stays. They're like extra kind of soft seat belts. They keep each breast in its assigned seats, and we provide first of its kind horizontal support, not just lift. Let me show you this demo. It's going to do way better than me explaining this. We've built a team with know-how for Behave. So I'm Athena Kizvikis, founder and CEO. I am definitely the chief consumer, but I also have a background in branding, marketing, and strategy for companies like Procter & Gamble and CMO and executive roles in marketing for companies like Ciao Bella. Jonathan Weisberg, our COO, is just an expert in this space. He's been in lingerie manufacturing and sourcing for more than 40 years, working with some of the largest companies out there. He's been amazing for Behave. And we're packed with advisors that have really added their expertise to get us to such a successful first year launch. And we have momentum. So despite COVID, we came out last year and we really proved that we have social advertising that gets women to raise their hand online and say, yes, that's a brand for me. We've been in the top 3% in traffic for all Shopify sites that have launched since March of 2020. And we have an active consumer that has unmet needs who's actively searching for us. When she finds us, she loves Behave. We are on track for revenue of $80,000 in our first year. But listen, we're a mission-oriented brand. We offer more than just bras. I am here to get women happy and comfortable in their bodies. That's why I just launched free virtual bra fittings for anybody who needs them. And these have been amazing and oversubscribed in our first month of doing them. I am booked solid. These have helped us build our community and loyalty to our brand. And they are just such an amazing way of finding new Behave consumers and getting her happy with the product. And happy she is. So we have a 4.8 out of 5-star average product rating, which is insane on a $75 product. We have a really low return rate and we get awesome reviews from our consumers, but they want more from us. They want swimwear. They want sports bras. They want all stays on all things. So that's what we're working on for the future because we've had such success this year with Behave so far. And we are going to make 50 million women love their bras again because we don't want our breasts pushed up or squashed on our body. What we really want is our bust to behave.
Welcome to the show, Athena.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So,
Hi.
what's really cool is sometimes, some of us have met certain founders before they made it to the show.
Good.
And so this is one of those cases where Athena and I have actually met a few times. And it's just really cool to see the growth.
Yep.
Also, man, you have the most soothing voice on the planet. It was like a really great pitch. So good job.
Thank you.
Good job. So in full transparency, we have met once, and her first pitch was very long.
I told you all the things.
All the things. Here we are now. So why are larger breasted women spending more money on bras than the A, B, C cups? Is it because they're trying to find something more comfortable, or because the bra is more expensive, or a combination of both? It's find comfort.
I think the root of it comes from the fact that on average, women with larger breasts own almost double the amount of bras that women with smaller breasts do. And I can personally tell you, I've been every size from a double D to an H. So I own every size. If I gain 5 pounds or look at pizza, I go up in cup size. So I think that's part of it. I think bras are also pretty terribly fitting. So we are what I would call the always hunters. When you have large breasts, it's like a hope and a prayer with every bra that you buy that you're going to finally find something to solve your problems. And so I think that's part of it, Candice, where we end up buying anything that we even think is close. I see it on Behave today. Our biggest selling size are our largest cups. And it's also where we see women returning our largest cup size the most, the size 8, because they're not even supposed to be in that size. They're a 40-inch or a 42-inch band, and they're just buying it as a hope and a prayer, saying, couldn't find anything, so I just bought this. It's why we're expanding our cup sizes and our band sizes to cover more of the market that wants us.
Okay, and so how do you educate women? The video is fantastic. So will you be using that video as often as possible to educate women about stays?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to do on stays. There's such a unique part of lingerie, quite frankly, that you haven't seen. I think bras haven't changed that much in 100 years from, 2 cups and straps. And so what we really are providing is something completely new, and that's horizontal support. And quite frankly, Candice, we're learning from our customers. I developed this product as a sleep product originally. I needed to sleep in a wire-free bra because I had gained a little weight and the breasts had gotten very unruly. And I really wanted to get comfortable while I was sleeping. Well, when we prototyped and when we started testing, women were like, oh my God, these stays are great. I never put them back in the bra. They reduce boob jiggle. They get rid of boob sweat, chest acne. We heard all of these other things. So I think there's a lot of education that can go into stays. The video I showed you, though, I've used parts of that in ads and across every single social platform. That is the thing. When you see them in action, when you jump on your side and you don't lose a breast, that is the thing that closes almost every deal and gets us crazy high click-through rates. So I think there's more to be done, but yes, we're using that video everywhere.
Okay. So I do have one more question, but I am going to say one thing. So people ask us all the time, Brian and I, like, what's it like to work with your spouse? This is one of those funny days where like we're having a really big breast conversation. And so between the like talk about boobs and the talk about like periods, I sometimes feel really bad for him. Like as a human. So Brian, I'm so sorry that we're having to do this together at work today. So how do you differentiate yourself from these other companies that have come on the market and they're selling bras to bigger breasted women? I know the answer, but how do you think you differentiate yourself?
I think it's a couple planes. The first one would be our technology. No one has it. We're IP protected. We just filed internationally and got a completely clean search report, which is like unheard of. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I think for us, it's about not just the technology, but it's also the support of women and building this community of women. Part of my mission in life in general, you've met me before, is just I've seen all the boobs. I'm over it, right? I've yet to see a terrible pair of breasts. And like I tell every woman I meet, it's not you, it's your bra. There is a reason why everybody hates a bra. And I think that's part of why we're a little bit different. We're not trying to shoehorn you into something that doesn't work for you. When you sign up for a free virtual fitting with me, I'm giving you all of the bras and different companies out there to buy. We're not in competition. I think we're just trying to be an additive, incremental part of the space. So I think that really does differentiate us. And then just our willingness to learn. Like, I talk to consumers all day long. So I know what our next products are going to be. I know what they want from me. In fact, I was even able to make a couple updates to our current product, like adding padded straps for our new stuff for our larger sizes. Right. So I think that's a big differentiator. It's not just about the profit. It's about how do we help more women? Because when honestly, like, when you are able to stand up for yourself as a woman and say, I need this, I think you are standing up for kind of all of womankind and saying, let's do better. And so that's how I feel like we are as a brand.
That's awesome. All right. Who's next?
I'll go next. So even though Candice thinks I have a hard time on some of these products, I'll tell you, when you meet a enthusiastic entrepreneur, independent of the products for you or not, it's infectious. So it's very, very clear here. I have a question about the sizing, which I think is a really good on-ramp to your product. I want to understand, one, are you seeing that as an early mini brand strategy, right? To get a lot of like just voracious love the product users who to talk about you? Or do you see that as a long-term kind of thing that you'll do scalably throughout the future of the company?
Yeah, it's a great question. I started with what I know best, which is large breasts with traditional bands. The vision has always been, though, Brian, to get all large breasts to behave. It's not like every woman deserves a shot at getting her foundational layer that sort of sets the tone for how she feels about her body, right, and fitted. So I started with what I knew best, and that's also a cash issue, right? Like, we could not afford to make 100 SKUs. And so what I looked at from a sizing perspective is like, where's the biggest need? How can we uniquely sort of fill that need? I will tell you, our technology goes above just large breasts. Our technology is something that I get constant questions about for A's, B's, C's, and D's. So I do not believe that we are just a wire-free bra for women with large breasts. I think our Stace technology gives us permission to extend into, quite frankly, not only all of lingerie, but swim, sport, other areas where women are just like, I constantly want them to behave. It's not just in this one thing. So that's the way I think about it. We have lovers now, and I think it's really about building that momentum and getting out to more people, because when they hear about us, they buy.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. So as a reminder, everyone, if you have any questions for Athena, throw them in your comment box below and I'll have them answered for you shortly. So Athena, tell me a little bit about, I know you're early, and we're not supposed to ask this of really early entrepreneurs, but what do you think the exit landscape looks like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a very pertinent question, Lexi. How lingerie works and what I've discovered is, and I want to make sure I choose my words carefully, because I'm in lingerie now, but I came in as an outsider and sort of learned my way how to like
say their names.
Yeah. I won't say it, but I was always anticipating, because of how this space works, that other brands would copycat. It's why I went really early after IP, really aggressive IP. We didn't do design. I went straight for utility, and we have about 150 claims that we just got through internationally. So we knew we were going to get copied. What I believe is such a great thing about now that we've actually finally been copied, we just saw it last month, which is very suspicious timing, is that is an awesome way to sort of just prove to the industry as a whole that this is truly a technology that women want, by a large brand who's copied us. It sets us up for some really interesting IP litigation questions that potentially look into us as I think we are going to be way more affordable to acquire in the next 2 to 3 years than we are going to be to compete with. And so really that's why I'm about building this really strong foundation of customers that love us. So that's kind of how I think about it, from that perspective.
Excellent. So you have a lot of love in the comments, but we'll start with a question from Black Coffee. His first question is that Stays looks almost like a fashion statement with the material shown in the video. Was it designed to be seen?
So great question. Originally, no. I think everything I designed originally was pretty narrow. And then after testing, you start to expand and talk to consumers. What I heard, and you can kind of see it, we're not going to flash anybody, but I wear the bras all day long. They're very modest. And I was actually testing out a product that we had to use an athletic legging for. So I didn't have any material. So I had this like brightly printed athletic legging, and I was wearing a robe like I am. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, that's really cute. So I think that's something to talk about, especially with our influencers that we now have working on TikTok and other places. I think right now it's been more about education, but that's absolutely another facet to what we provide.
Excellent. He's also curious about how does a typical virtual sizing session work? Can this be scaled to serve as a mass trial driver?
You know what? I would love to, because I'm booked out already. So we've been doing it for about a month. I do 20 to 25 a week. They're about 15 to 30 minutes each. But what we're doing is creating these great relationships and word of mouth. So they've grown almost completely by word of mouth. And that brings in new consumers. If you are Behave size, I will tell you we're not when we do our fitting. You buy a bra. It's been 100% so far. So that's been really great. How do we scale that? I think we bring on additional help. It's not rocket science. I think it's just education. It takes 5 minutes to size someone. I can usually do it by sight in about 3 seconds. So it's really about just passing on the knowledge and hiring, quite frankly, getting another employee on board to help with that and really making sure our customer service is awesome. But I think it is scalable. I think it's also just about it's living our mission, right? This is like what we do. My whole job is to get your bust to behave. Like getting your foundation right with a good size starts there. So.
Excellent. I'm sure Brian has lots of ideas.
I was just going to ask that, but I wasn't certain what the right way to frame that was. But Brian, can AI solve this sizing issue?
100%. 100%. I didn't want to take up all this, a lot of questions for her, so I didn't want to take it up, but we can definitely talk offline about how you can use AI to solve that.
Okay.
Cool.
And S. Montrayo wants to know what's next for Behave, if you're comfortable sharing that on the show, Athena.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're already working. So we have a gorgeous product. It's lace. It's beautiful. It stretches. It's comfortable. But, one of our biggest ask fors, well, there's two huge ask fors. One is, can you do it smooth so I could wear this not just around all day, but also to Pilates and, get kind of that same level of support. It's really cool when you can bend over and no one can see down your shirt because your cleavage is covered. It's amazing. So we're working on the smooth version of our current today, different colors women want. And then we're also looking at swim and sport. So something a bit more high impact for sport and swim. Women, when I talk to them, they're like, awesome, thanks for sizing me for Behave Bra. Okay, can you also tell me what swimwear to buy, what sportswear to buy? When you need bra-sized stuff, you don't just need one product, you need all of the drawer. And so we're looking at all of the drawer right now.
Excellent. I think you answered their second question as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Athena. Shameless plug time before we move. If you are interested in either getting sized or buying a Behave bra, where can our audience find them?
You can find them at behavebras.com, and you can put in Twitch 10 and get 10% off if you're watching.
This is crazy. This is wild. I will literally go do that right after the show.
Okay.
All right.
I love that.
Thank you. So audience, that was great. If you would like to vote for Behave Bras to win this competition, text the number 9 to 203-408-6432. Once again, to vote for Behave, text the number 9 to 203-408-6432.
How fun.
All right. Thank you, Athena.
Thank you. Good.
All right, Candice.
That was great. I mean, like I said, I've met her before, but the company has come a long way, and just the way she's explaining it is huge. It seems as if she's getting some momentum behind her. I mean, she launched this company during COVID, which is like super tough, especially with a company that's like, there's so much innovation in that bra. Like, to explain that this is a different kind of bra, I think it's kind of hard to do. I do think that there's some humps around that too. Like, why is it important to buy this bra instead of others? So I wonder if it's going to take a combination of kind of like in-store versus direct to consumer. Just because I don't know, buying a bra is a really like personal choice. But with that being said, like, I've bought bras online and then returned them. So I can't say that I haven't done that. I don't know. I think just a really interesting value proposition just in general. So no, I like her as a founder. She's incredibly well entrenched into the lingerie space. I think that space is very similar to Luxottica in the aspect that it's a very closed group that kind of runs lingerie. So there are some words that they use around that particular group, and they all kind of do with the mob. But yeah, it's a really strange space. So she's really kind of going against a really, I don't know, like a really serious foe in a way. And it's interesting to see that there's already big players copying her. So they can see something good. And I think that's pretty cool. I think they should just attempt to acquire, right? Like, why cheat your way through? I don't think that's cool at all either.
Yeah, Brian?
Yeah, I was gonna pick up right there. I think that you can use that to your advantage, right? And you can take getting a great law firm, taking a very clear approach up front to say this is going to be a long haul and you're not going to run me over. Gets people saying, okay, well, if I'm going to pay X number of million for a lawsuit that I may lose, in fact, that I probably will lose, or I could pay X number more to buy a company at an early stage. She becomes my senior vice president of design, blah, blah, blah. It gets to be easier and easier. So I think that her going hard on IP, going hard on good representation is going to serve her well.
Brian, can you talk to that a little bit more for the audience so they can understand? Like, you can have a patent, but what if you don't? What if you don't try to enforce that patent? Can you?
Patents without legal protection are not anything. They're not worth the paper they're printed on, because you actually have a requirement in patent law in most countries to protect that patent. And you've got to sometimes sue, and you've got to just be pretty vigilant in that space. And it can be very expensive. Oftentimes when companies are too early, we actually talk about not patenting, but doing trade secrets in the very, very beginning, because you don't need to share all the kind of special sauce sometimes. You could still, if you're doing trade secrets, say like, this is the day I started using it. This is what I've been doing. This is how long I've been doing it. And then at the next round, maybe go a little bit more aggressive on patents.
Yeah, I agree with what both of you are saying. I think it's great that she has actually a suite of IP to help keep this at least moderately defensible early on. But it's a tough business. Not only is it a tough business to get into, it's a tough business to scale for a bunch of reasons that I'm not actually really sure about why. But it's really tough to kind of break past that like 10 million mark here. But I like Athena a lot. I think she has something that's unique that no one else really is doing in this space. I'm excited to see where it takes her. All right, and with that, let's bring in our next company of the night. Let's meet Ashley from the Tiny Human Foods team.
My sweet girl, from the moment I found out about you, I knew that I only wanted the very best for you. I wanted to keep you safe and keep you healthy. I've watched you learn the world with a touch of water and how to use tiptoes for something other than ballet. I've taught you what good food can do And I've watched you dream with your eyes wide open and fearlessly travel to new heights. And now it's your turn, my darling. I know you'll make the right choice, just like I did for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to Tiny Human Food. This is when it counts. So what's the problem? Well, there are a lot actually. When baby food was introduced into the marketplace, sterilization was what was chosen for processing. And what happens during the sterilization process is produce being brought in and having ultra high temperatures applied to it. This strips the product of the vitamins and nutrients that it once contained, while simultaneously drastically altering the natural flavor, texture, and color, leaving an unappetizing, tummy filling mush. Over time, this empty way of feeding has led to a horrific decline in child health. At Tiny Human Food, we're all about solutions, and I'll tell you what that is, but it requires a little bit of background, so allow me, and maybe grab yourself some popcorn. During the first 1,000 days of life, a tiny human's body is hard at work doing intricate developing of all of the vital systems. For example, in the first 12 months of life alone, a baby's brain will double in size. This development, as I mentioned prior, will carry on with that child for better or worse for the rest of their life. This period, the first 1,000 days of life, this is when it counts. So back to the solution. A tiny human's body has to be properly nourished, and you do that through products that are cold pressed because they're processed with pressure, not heat, which means that the potentially harmful bacteria is killed while the produce itself is not affected at the molecular level. It's nutrient rich with clean flavors and vibrant colors. Additionally, cold pressed technology is wonderful, but it isn't everything. It starts with clean organic ingredients to ensure that there are no contaminants. Next, the product needs to be packaged in cups, not pouches. Lastly, the recipes should be simple with many single flavored profiled offerings. The baby food market is saturated in mix-ups and blends and mashups, but the competition is missing yet another essential opportunity to assist in development. Babies' palates are developing between 4 and 7 months, so teaching them how delicious sweet potatoes are without being hidden in fruit, or green beans without being disguised, allows them to create a long-lasting, healthy relationship with good food. The implementation of these 4 key factors creates healthier, more resilient tiny humans, which in turn creates healthier, more resilient grown-up humans. And who's hitting all 4 key opportunities for optimal development of tiny humans? Tiny human food. And we don't just meet the minimum requirements, we're rooted in them and exceed expectations that people don't even know to have set yet. There's an organization called the Clean Label Project, and their focus is teaching customers that a lot of time it's what's not on the label that counts the most. In the case of the blind study done on the baby food market, they wanted parents to know that there are unfortunate amounts of heavy metals throughout the entire category. What this means in particular is that acrylamide, pesticides, mercury, and lead can be found in droves. As you can see, Tiny Human Food was able to achieve a 0 level rating, while the others have massive quantities of heavy metals. These metals have long lists of side effects, including but not limited to brain damage, elevated risks for autism, ADHD and cancer, developmental delays, and the list just goes on and on. So while some would argue that these sound like talking points of an annoying alarmist, my question is, why take unnecessary risks with tiny humans' health and development? In early February, the New York Times published an article blowing the whistle on the category's giants and the household names. Ever since, millions of parents have now found out that they can't trust those brands, and they've been flocking to Tiny Human Food, which has led to exceptional, exponential, exciting growth. And it feels really good to be on this side of history. Okay, so now that you believe that we're the best, because, well, who can argue with science? Let's take a quick look at the competition, shall we? As you can see, several of them have several things in common with us. However, none of them check all of the boxes. As for our process, well, it's clear, clean, and concise. As you can see, 5 steps to goodness delivered. So what does our market look like? There are 4 million babies born each year in the US, 1 million of which are born to millennials. However, that percentage will only continue to outgrow the remaining. And of that 1 million babies born to health conscious, quality over quantity, need for time saving, ease of use millennial market, we feel that we can acquire 0.5% of that in the first year, which would be about 5,000 customers. These are our believers. They'll become our community and our advocates. You can see to the right that the US baby food market is currently at roughly 17 billion, and that the D2C e-commerce market isn't going anywhere but up. We have elected to utilize the D2C e-com subscription model, and it couldn't make more sense based on customer trends. We have aggressively conservative goals that we feel confident we can achieve once we are funded. This is rather to the point, so I'm going to pause here for you to review while I take a sip of my tea. Okay, so who's the crazy person behind this bold endeavor, which will ultimately flip the baby food industry on its head? That'd be me, Ash Rossi. One of the most important things a founder can do is know what they don't know and surround themselves with people who are the best. And I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by some of the very best. Thank you so much for your time. And if you're ready to change the world with me, I can't wait to hear from you.
Welcome to the show.
Hello. That was so much fun. So look, I think the team knows that my kids are everything to me. So my kids were mostly vegetarian, organic until they were 10. Mm-hmm. I paid very close attention to what they ate. I knew really early on those things that you were sharing. So I was like in a small co-op group with other women who were like-minded, and we weren't letting our kids eat rice cereal and baby food from the big players. And so, here we are now 13 years after I had my first child, and now the world is finding out, right, that all of those alarmist things that we were saying were absolutely the truth. And so I really kudos to you for building this brand for people who haven't done the research. And I just think it's really big. So one, I want to start by saying, Ash, I love the name of the company. I call my children my humans. And so I just love the name of the company. Now, but you have a lot of competitors, right? So you go in the baby aisle, the baby food aisle, and there's a lot of stuff there. You've got legacy companies, and then you've got this advent of the pouch. So like, how do you win in the aisle, or are you more direct to consumer?
Well, a couple ways I can answer that. Right now, we're direct to consumer. We'll be going back to retail when retailers put the same level of importance on babies' health as they do dogs. And when they're willing to allocate the space that they will allocate for coolers in the pet food aisle the same way that they do for pets, but also, in terms of how do you grow up against like legacy brands and pouches, my response to that has always been, you just offer the best, right? So the legacy brands, in the last 2.5 months, the whistle got blown on them, right? So everybody knows that while they've spent a lot of money trying to tell everybody how great they are, science has shown otherwise. And in terms of the pouch, I get beat up on this a little bit from parents, but again, I always revert to science, right? Pouches, now that they've been around long enough, have had a lot of different studies done on them, and they consistently show that they cause different issues for kids, specifically and particularly when they're overused. So I'm not saying a pouch here and there is going to do anything, right? But when they're used as the only means for feeding, you've
got to know how to hold a spoon.
Yes.
That's actually a skill that you have to learn. It's not just drinking out of a straw.
Right. And so many parents
that drives me crazy.
Yeah. So, and I love that you know that, because so many times I've been at trade shows and it's like you tell a parent that and you see the light bulb go off, right? Where they're like, oh, I never even thought about how much work I'm doing when I'm actually navigating my spoon from a bowl, getting the food on it, getting that back to my mouth without losing it somewhere in between. It's like this whole thing. Plus, they can lead to childhood obesity and bad eating habits because they're slurping the food down so quickly that their stomach doesn't have time to tell their brain, like, hey, whoa, we're full, slow down, among a whole host of other issues. So I just make sure to keep us out of pouches. There are reusable pouches for parents who want to buy tiny human food and throw it in there on the go. That's fine. And then, in terms of legacy brands, I think they're doing a number on themselves. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna let other people ask questions because I could go on and on. So who's
okay?
I actually just have a couple of questions about the current business, and you've got a lot of different flavors. What are best sellers? What's coming next? What are moms like begging you for? What are dads begging you for?
They're begging me for all the things. Okay, so this is a great problem to have, but it's also really intimidating when you're a small startup. I had pulled out of retail at the beginning of last year
fortunately right before the pandemic hit, right? So I'm glad, because we would have had high numbers of unsellables and all of those things. However, I also pivoted to e-com right as the pandemic hit. So I've had to kind of pare things down, scale things down, and grow as smart as possible. And one of those things has been to just do a subscription that has a set amount of products in it, right? So that doesn't allow for a lot of customization. And by a lot, I mean none right now. And that makes me sad. But I'm excited to add that on. Parents really want me to add that on. It's not that they're not enjoying some of the products. It's just that, you know, like sometimes a mom just reached out and said that her daughter, her little tiny, has acid reflux, right? So it's not great for her to get the applesauce because she can't have a lot. It just depends. So customization is going to be huge. And then right now we only have the core 6 SKUs. And when you're talking about baby food, you know, I'm not trying to grow from 6 SKUs to 36 overnight, but I do need to be more in line with my competitors, which just means adding some more on. And I also, and I don't like when I do this, because I don't like to ever be vague. I'd rather just be fully transparent. But you guys understand sometimes that can't be a thing. I am getting ready to bring on a white label product that will be a complete game changer for this brand versus my competitors. Nobody's doing anything like it. So that'll be awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Excellent. So everyone, if you have questions for Ash about the company, throw your questions in the comment box below, and I will get to those in just a moment. So Ash, tell me a little bit about when someone finds you. Are they finding you like right there as they're about to give birth? Are they finding you after they've tried solutions that didn't work, that weren't healthy for their children? What's the big win?
They're finding me in Tiny Human Food when they're scared. And I hate to say it that way, but that's just the truth, right? So the biggest, one of the things I love the most about this brand is there's a huge emphasis on education, right? And sometimes that's a little bit of a burden for me, because I feel like I come across as like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, and I don't ever mean it that way. But when you're trying to teach someone about, you know, some risks about overusing pouches, or not using a brand that uses clean ingredients and things, like, you do kind of sound scary. Well, the last 2.5 months, lots of other people and journalists and media outlets have done the scaring, and now they just want what's best, and they're excited to go and find what's best. And so what I'm noticing is I'd say over half the articles that have come out in the last couple months, the Clean Label Project gets mentioned, and they should, because they are a brilliant organization. So either just the Clean Label Project and their website get mentioned, and then parents go find out who their, you know, award-winning brands are. Although, as mentioned, we're the only ones whose entire line qualifies for the Purity Award, not just some of our products. Or the articles will mention Clean Label Project and the Purity Award winning, you know, blah, blah, blah. So that's how they've been finding us lately.
Excellent, excellent. There's a ton of love for you here in the comments. I think we answered Ash Cucinella's first question, but let's jump to Ash's second question on how did you decide to do this?
That's actually quite a question. I have my degree in criminal justice. So I was a teen mom, and, you know, things happen, and I wanted to give my son the best life I could. I worked 2 and 3 jobs at a time. I put myself through college. You know, all of that is to say it took me 4 years to earn a 2-year degree. And I couldn't have been more excited to go into that career and then end up in the DEA and do all these things. And then literally the week that I was getting ready to graduate, my now ex-husband and I found out that we were expecting my youngest son. And there was this immediate realization that I couldn't be the kind of police officer I wanted to be and the kind of mom to an infant that I wanted to be at the same time. And so I went through a bit of a weird, polarizing, super excited about Luca, but really, really devastated about losing that career path period, and didn't know what I was going to do next until I went into the baby food aisle. And I had seen that things like Fresh Pet and whatever had come out, and I was really excited to see, you know, what innovations had been made in baby food. And when I saw that it had looked basically identical to how it had 11 years prior when my older son was in baby food,
something in me snapped. And I just said, okay, well, if they're not going to get it right, then I am. And so my friends and family joke that my passion for criminal justice just became pursuing justice for tiny humans. So that's that's what I've been doing. Great question, though.
That's a great story too. Holy cow.
Black Coffee wants to know, assuming funding comes to brilliant ideas like yours, what's your top line marketing strategy to break through the clutter? Often food marketing is like beauty marketing. Storytelling is huge.
Storytelling is huge. And I couldn't agree with Athena more, and was just like hugging her from through the screen when it comes to really building your community and having that be built. It's genuine, right? So right now, I'm a team of one. I have been since I started the company. And right now, with all the growth that we've been having, sometimes that's hard to keep up on. But also, I love that my customers know if they message me on Instagram, they're going to get me. If they email customer service, they're going to get me. If they call, they're going to get me. And they love that. And they're going on Instagram. I'm not a social media person. I'm learning how to become one. So I don't really know how powerful all this is. But like, I do know they go on there and they're like, hey, this mom is running this company. It's the best thing ever. Go support her. And that's what I think what it takes, right? Because then they're loyal. They want to see you, do well and thrive. And they support you in a completely different way than just being another brand that they saw, on TV. So hope that answers that question.
I think so. And I'm not sure what this question's about. Maybe you do, Ash. Ann Toast 13 wants to know, why do you post your results online? Is that a question for you? Or is that a question for you?
Yeah, so we're the only baby food company on the market who, when I tell you guys I'm an incredibly transparent person, I mean it. I post our Clean Label Project final product results right on our website. I think if you can't do that, it doesn't belong being sold for tiny humans to consume, period. It should really be that straightforward. So yeah, that's what that is referring to.
Excellent. And for anyone in the audience who has a tiny human at home and they would like to buy your products, how can they find you?
So they can go to tinyhumanfood.com, and I was going to do like a separate discount code for you guys, but also IT, team of one, can't. And the other thing is that we already offer 70% off on your first order, right? So I think that asking people to make a $100 commitment to a product they haven't tried yet is a lot, especially when they have tiny humans. I get it. So we basically ask them to just cover their shipping, get the product, try it, love it. They always do, and then come back. So
love that. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Congrats.
If you would like to vote for Tiny Human Foods to win this competition, text the number 10 to 203-408-6432. Once again, the magic number is 10 to 203-408-6432 to vote for Tiny Human Foods. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Ash.
Thanks, guys.
Good job.
All right, parents, what do you think?
I loved that company. There is something just like, first of all, just she seems like my tribe of woman. Like my friends were all like Ash. We'd go into the baby food aisle and just be pissed at it. And we let everybody know that it was all BS. And so it's nice that like someone is trying to really go against the Gerber baby foods of the world. That stuff is really bad. And the companies you see in the baby food aisle are the Monsantos of the world. They are Monsantoing babies. And that's why we have all of the issues we have today. People don't want to believe it. But look, there's a reason why we don't allow lead paint in homes anymore. But for some reason, we allow heavy metals in our baby food. And so this is something that has to be fixed. And unfortunately, even with this little bit of bad press, they're all going to continue doing it. So parents are just going to have to shift what they're doing. And then maybe eventually, 5-10 years from now, you'll see some labeling changes. Like she said, you'll see somebody say, no lead, no heavy metals, right? Like in your baby food. maybe just start with a company that like started without them from the beginning and didn't have to take it out or that cares about their supply chain. I don't know, something about her, like this person is saying now, her enthusiasm, her passion, and her energy around it is really good. I will say that it's just going to be important that she finds people on her team to help market in the food space. It's just a lot. And she'll have to scale up really quickly because it is possible that maybe one of the legacy brands will find their conscience and want to do something different. But, so far, even with the, there was bad press around rice cereal a decade ago. And that blew over, and it's still the same problem. But it is possible in this day and age when people are finally figuring out that they should be doing the right thing, maybe they will. So she's got to catch up and make sure she gets ahead of the curve on the brand and marketing side.
Brian?
Yeah, mine's short. Just love it. The world needs more people like her. We need more products like this. You wish you had it. Like my daughter's 20, right? I wish we had it then. One of the more disappointing things in my career, my consulting career, was working at a large kind of food manufacturer and seeing how they would take products that weren't attractive enough or good enough to go into certain packaging, blend them up, put them in the baby food, right? And just there's got to be a better way, and I love this approach.
Absolutely. I have nothing really to say. Great company, really expensive category though. That's my one caveat of the night. And anyone who hears me talk about food knows that it's expensive to scale it, but she's doing such important work, and I'm excited to see where it takes her. And with that, thank you to everyone who's watched our episode. I feel like there's been a bunch of new faces here today. So just
these ladies are popular. I think that's what they brought their folks with them. And also what people don't know is behind the scenes, and we have a private chat back here. You can see where the founders speak to each other, and there's just a lot of love. Like they are sharing email addresses right now with each other. And I'm glad that a relationship has been launched back here behind the scenes.
I'm excited about it too. And for those of you who are new and want to see this again, we do this twice a week. So we're going to be back here on Thursday, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern, on whatever platform you're watching this on, where you get to see 2 other incredible companies compete for the grand prize, which we will announce next week. It's crazy. The finale is literally a week from today. So I'm really, really excited about that. Marlon, do we have time? Can we flash the number one more time for our friend Peter Andrews? So if you wanted to vote for Behave, the number is 9 to 203-408-6432. And if you wanted to vote for Tiny Human Foods, that magic number is 10 to the same number, 203-408-6432. I hope everyone had a great time.
I like that, how you guys made it happen. That was really impressive. Yeah.
Teamwork, making this dream work. So I hope you enjoyed the show, everyone. If you missed a part of it or you want to watch it again, as a reminder, we do have replays on YouTube, and they sit here on Twitch for a bit too. So feel free to check out any episodes you may have missed. And until then, we'll see you all on Thursday. Good night.
Good night.